The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence.
On July 6, 2025, the Triple Bypass Nichols Oil Pros Series brought the action to the high banks of Texas Motor Speedway for a 120-lap thriller. With 7 different leaders and 10 lead changes, the race saw non-stop jostling up front. 5 cautions slowed the field for 15 laps, adding plenty of restarts to shake up the running order. It was the spotlight race for our series sponsor, Tex Nichols, and 29 cars got set for the Nichols Oil Pros 120. Sean Bradley, driving car 77, capitalized on the early chaos and brought home the win after starting in 4th. Bradley led the most laps, and he stayed sharp through every restart and timed his final charge to perfection to secure the checkered flag. The pole sitter, Ty Bass, put up a strong fight in car 2. Bass led 43 laps and was right in the mix until the end, crossing the line just 0.9 seconds behind Bradley. Alan Kunman in Car 3 came from 11th on the grid to grab a well-earned third-place finish. He stayed clean, climbed through the field steadily, and finished just a second and a half behind after leading 12 laps. Davey Hendricks and Elton Wu wrapped up the top 5, both scoring important points as they head towards the playoffs. Congratulations to Sean Bradley, our Texas winner. We hope you enjoyed this Triple Bypass Nichols Oil Pros Series recap. We'll see you next time.
The month of May often brings spectacular action to Indianapolis Motor Speedway with the fastest oval race in the world. But the late summer brings a very, very different beast. And bringing the NASCAR vehicles around Indianapolis is an all-time classic on the Triple Bypass schedule. Only a few races to go until the playoffs. And well, drivers are jostling for every position they can get out there. Welcome along to the Indiana Thunder 85. Standing in instead of your usual commentators and producers today, I'm Howie Burrows, and I'm joined alongside Patrick Coleman, who last witnessed Nashville, and we're hoping can see something just a little bit better on the way.
Yeah, indeed. It's going to be... Indiana is such a different track, such a historic venue that has seen little change since the circuit was first opened in 1909. It's a bit of a different track. You have more opportunities to pass, and the strategy in general is going to be different. And also, drivers are going to have more time to kind of get used to the update that kind of really threw a wrench into the works at Nashville. So I think we're going to see some really fantastic racing here today around this 2.5 mile oval. And those are our championship standings here at the moment. 9 races into the calendar. So I think Indiana's going to be a lot of fun here tonight. And yeah, I believe my co-host, Howie, has
I make it a
himself.
tradition. I make it a tradition to hit the mute button by accident at one point. I was going to say, I provide a lot of support and love to the Triple Bypass Series. They do their 5 days of racing a week, including Xfinity, Super Speedways, ARCA, and the Road Course Series. And the playoffs are approaching their end. Only 3 drivers in that top 10 have really punched their place in. It's a totally wide open series for many, and each race brings a new surprise. They love running this track on the Triple Bypass schedule. There's some they like, there's some they experiment with, there's some they hate. This one usually goes quite well. I covered this some seasons ago, and I seem to recall it went pretty well until pit road, and then everything seemed to go a bit wild. Not usually a track for stock cars, but to be honest, sometimes these drives can get aggressive around there and they can make it work. Usually it's pretty single groove, trying to bring this car down to the bottom, but the very, very long straights mean side draft becomes a very, very real impact. This is the Indiana Thunder 85, brought to you by Dominic Zanobi, who I hope is here, and I hope we're going to be able to speak to it just a little bit later on during the race. Most of the sponsors bring a company name or brand to it, and Dominic, second time around this time of the season, he's just decided to go, I'm going to give it a nice, fun name. So we'll be sure to catch up with him and some other drivers as the race progresses. 85 laps with a stage early on as ever. Most of our qualifying laps are done right now on the grid. Chad Bear looking to be the fastest. Still a few to go. I just randomly picked one to listen, and it was Donald Riastu. So congratulations. You're the driver we get to look at just for a little bit, running the qualifying laps around here. I can't spot the 30 of Zanobi. No, he is here. He is here, even if he hasn't quite hit the grid yet. So yeah, these cars, they got a little bit of downforce. They've got that underfloor under them, but they are big, they are bulky, and they are difficult to get around the track. Very unlike the Indy cars that I've piloted the victories around here, but that leads to a very, very physical kind of racing around this track, you'll find.
Exactly. I mean, it's a very wide track, so there's a lot of good opportunities to get some good overtakes, and this is pretty different because it is classified as an oval, but if you look at the shape of the track, it kind of looks more like a rounded rectangle than it does an actual track. The famous Indiana Brickyard, as people like to nickname this circuit, is such a fun track for racing. I mean, I've had a lot of fun here in pretty much any form of this track, whether it's the road course, whether it's the oval. It's just a fun track, and the thing that drivers are going to really have to pay attention to is fuel consumption and tire degradation. The right side of tires is really going to take a beating here through the circuit. And also, as we heard from Al early on, that if you're able to consistently run in 5th gear, you're going to get a lot of really good fuel mileage here on this circuit, which I think is really going to play a big factor in today's race, because strategy is going to be so crucial here.
Drivers expect to be able to make the first stage without a need for stops, but past that, we do limit the fuel tank in these cars as ever around here, so one should be required. Cautions can throw this place into chaos, though. Hopefully this track is a lot flatter and a lot smoother, so that you can experience what this league are great at, rather than one of their dark days in their history. I'm sorry, you had to be there. That's all I'll say. We're getting close to the end of qualifying, so we're about to get a starting grid loaded up with our drivers. And forgive the changing graphics. Bradley Dalton involved in a horrible incident off turn 4 of Indianapolis 30 minutes ago. I'm sure he'll be able to return in due course. I wasn't handed the theme in the meantime, and we got to do what we can with what we've got. Should be 30 drivers hitting the track today. And on pole position, we did get Chad Bear. Jeremy Brown sits in second next to Alan Kundman and Stephen McLendon. In row 3, Matthew Robinson and Brad Kress make up 5th and 6th. William Emer sits in 7th next to Ileana Hamilton, with Ben Harcum in 9th and Daniel Williams in 10th.
And then taking up the next few slots on the grid, we have Ty Bass sitting at P11, followed by Sean F. Bradley sitting in P12 in that number 77 car. And then we can go and take a look at P13 is Keaton Cruthers here in P13, followed by Marty Rogers in P14, Michael Hopkins in 15th, Aiden Amaro P16, Al Corey P17, Donna Ristow in P18, and then we're going to go ahead and take a look at Derek Catt in P19, and P20 is Brian Dickens, and Howie, you can take the rest.
I mean, even in American leagues, I stumble over my name sometimes. Dylan Freeman sits in 21st, Elton Wu in 22nd. Matthew Harmon starts up 23rd, next to Jason Benson. Only a few rows left to go. John Crutchley in 25th. Jason Henry, Addison Henry even. It's Jaden Henry in 26th, of course. Isaac Voss in 27th. Nick Jones in 28th. Tyler Orellas in 29th and Mark Herzog in 30. With Michael Seymour, John Darnell III, Dominic Zanobi and Tex Nichols also listed. Looks like they're all going to hit. We got 34 cars around Indianapolis. That is a wild number you don't often see.
Yeah, it's just one number higher than the 33 that run in Indianapolis for the Indy 500. So I think we have 86 fiery laps around this circuit, and this track is going to come alive here. I mean, the drivers have had some time to get used to the recent updates that kind of threw Nashville into a bit of chaos the last time I was here, but I think we're going to see some really fantastic racing today. It's really hard to have a bad race at the Brickyard, so I'm really looking forward to this one, and I'm sure these drivers are as well, as we're getting closer and closer to the playoffs here at Triple Bypass Racing.
So this is going to be a race famous about selling into your own groove, I think. Yeah, most drivers that want to hit that bottom on this track, it's very hard to pass around the outside. It's very hard to make aggressive moves. But if you get your corner exits, you have some of the longest straights you can get on the entire schedule. So it's a matter of just being consistent. Try not to touch that curb too much. Keep it out of the wall and stay in your own head. 85 laps is going to fly by if you're patient on the track. And those who are impatient on Indianapolis quickly get punished. There's very little space to go in corners if there are problems. And I mean, it's very much flatter than most cars that these next-gen stock cars run at. So they're always just a little bit of a challenge. Chad Bear lines up on that front row in the 91. The field will start on the green flag as we are coming through turn 4. As slow as can be. It feels like when I'm anticipating them, that's when they take the longest. Chad Bear having a few connection problems, so I hope these don't translate to big jitters on the grid. It's a long lap around here. It's almost as long as a super speedway, but missing a lot of that super speedway in itself. Just one more turn to go, I think, until the iRacing pace car pulls in.
All right, we're about to go in to get green here in Indianapolis. The cars are coming to the line as they wait for that pace car to pull right on in. Time is starting to slow down as these drivers get ready for green, and the time is about to speed up really quickly here. Chad Bear going ahead and leading us to green, and very soon it'll be the green flag, and we are going to be underway. And it is pedal to the metal. These drivers are underway, coming down into turn number 1 as we go through the field here. And once again, that inside line.
Getting some unusual data for some of the top cars here. I think the disconnection of Brad Press has thrown everything into a array, but it looks like it's Adam Kunman who's able to get the launch off the front row into turn 1. It's going to go very single file now. Jeremy Brown sitting behind. Now, I say single file, we're almost 2 and 3 wide behind. Sean Bradley is the first on that bottom lane as we enter this backstretch.
Yeah, these drivers are really trying to jostle in, trying to get these positions in any way they humanly can. Trying to put pedal to the metal, trying to get these moves, and they really want that inside line because, like you said earlier, this track makes it really tricky to kind of make any kind of pass on the outside. So you're really going to want to try to fight for that inside corner going into each of these corners here. And something we kind of talked about before the broadcast is that this is a oval that has road course style corners, so it's really tricky to try to get anything done around the outside here, which could really lead to the impatience of some of these drivers really kind of biting them in the end.
Getting into your groove right now is going to help you best throughout the length. A little bit of side-by-side contact I see further back with that green-reared car. Some drivers still trying to make the battle happen. Here's the 5 Elton Wu. Looks like he's got a run. Some draft is going to help you get runs, and if you can force your way under a car, just like he's going to force his way behind Derek Catt, can get ahead. Not quite the momentum this time, though, and he has to slot back in behind one more shot. It's not quite gonna work for him. Derek Catt enjoying that sort of middle lane around the track. Further up the pack, everybody's pretty much behaved themselves. Here comes Matthew Robinson on the inside line, and there's a lot of draft down the straights, but you get alongside someone in these next gens, and suddenly the side draft's going to become overwhelming. You're going to start pulling each other back. You need to kind of watch each other's back just a little and make sure that momentum carries all the way through 1 and 2. Very important exit the matters here. Both got compromised, and then at the 51 of McLendon behind tries to slot in. He actually spins instead. I think it stays green here. No, the yellow just thrown. I believe there's more wrecks behind. There's more wrecking behind them in back. That's the 27.
The 27.
Trying to work out where he is there.
27 and quite a few other cars just around.
Says a 27. That's an 847 of Jason Henry. Let's try and review all of these as they came, because there were quite a few one after another. And I think it started here with the pass from Stephen McLendon. And then it just sort of escalated behind. I think the field maybe checking up, tried to catch themselves out on that one. Here's our 3PR TV instant replay. So McLendon's looking for a shot here on the inside lane. The 2 cars, they're pushing. The 34 pushes that 46 out, and he just gets the car loose out from under him as he makes the move. Further back, there's obviously a lot more going on. I'm trying to work out where that starts. Could be from, it's not Michael Seymour. Got quite a few black flags coming out, in fact, trying to my event scroll past so quickly, but it's almost like a wrecking field out there. At 847, let's take a look at his replay, and that might give us a better idea as to what we're looking at here.
Yeah, it kind of looked like some of these cars end up forming a little bit of a bubble chicane. Ooh!
It's Elton Wu, actually, that kicks all of that off the first time around.
Oh, and that's just a domino effect. Yeah, I mean,
Here he comes.
yeah, I mean, the tricky thing with oval racing is that the tricky thing with oval racing is that if one person makes a mistake, there's a very good chance it's going to collect several other drivers, and I think that's exactly what happened here. Yep, you could see contact with the wall, and then just kind of get caught in a little bit of a game of ping pong.
It starts with Derek Cat off the wall. We played our CSI crime scene investigation. Is Derek Cat's 29 car. This is where that kicks off. I think he's just washing wide in the turn. He's gonna go into the wall. And that's the beginning of the end for quite a few drivers. He's got a black flag for causing that incident. Race control do give out live penalties. And that's going to return us under pacing where every car's already jumping straight in for the... Not every car's jumping into the pit stop. Matthew Kunman stays out. I'm trying to check further back to see how many are quite taking that. No, it looks like actually only the damaged cars, because there is a fast repair available to many of these drivers. Everyone else stays out. 5 laps shouldn't be enough to wear those tyres down.
Yeah, these tires are definitely going to have a better life expectancy than just 5 laps, although I'm not sure about the cars that did some ballerina work early on. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a good chance to kind of cool down and kind of, you know, have that mental reset to kind of, because like you said earlier, getting into the groove on this track is going to be crucial. It's going to be a massive key to success here at Indiana. So I mean, when you get that safety caution, it can really just give you a chance to just take a deep breath, reset, and get ready to go next time, and then you can easily settle into that groove and get back going again once we go green.
Will, if we're 2 to green right now, 1 to green over the line. I thought I'd catch on board Steve McLendon here. He wasn't the original causer of this, but he was one of the drivers who sort of like, this is what this car does if you force a little bit too much into the wheel. It's already slipping a bit on exit. And it's a bold move to send the car down. I'm really surprised that I got lost, actually. Really surprised. That, to me, is a bit of an edgy setup, probably. Setting them up quite poorly, because he's now been sent to the back. He wasn't the main beginner of that, but he's decided he is going to stop in the pits. A long stop, 1 minute 17. So a few drivers here haven't used the fast repair. Mark Herzog, he took repairs, hasn't used the fast repair. Steve McLendon hasn't used the fast repair. He's a 1 minute pit stop. Michael Seymour as well. Derek Cat doesn't want to use the fast repair, I think. He's sitting here. He is available to him, but 3 minutes in the box. He'll be end of line already. He's laps down. I think he might actually just be retiring himself out of this race as I speak. 1 to go next time by Alan Kundman. He led the race out at the start after our leaders just sort of netcoded out of existence and caused a little bit of confusion up there. I'm not sure Bear's actually here. Yeah, Bear actually disappeared off P1, just dropped right to the back. So Kundman was the one that inherited the lead. I lost the ability to track space and time as they tracked around, and that sort of inherits him, that inside line. Pace car now in the backstretch.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really advantageous position there for Alan, because like you said, he's got the inside line. He's got the line you really want to be on, just because trying to overtake on the outside is so difficult here at Indianapolis, as we are 1 to green here behind the pace car. And I mean, this restart's going to be really crucial. You really want to get those tires warmed up, ready to go, and you want to get the optimal grip so you can fight for that inside line, as we are getting green here very, very shortly. It should be interesting, because so far there's already been chaos, but when you do oval racing, I mean, you have so many cars that are so close together, it's almost more of an inevitability that somebody is gonna collide, because you have drivers racing super hard, a lot of very talented and very quick drivers in these Cup Series machines, as they're gonna fight for every position humanly possible. And I mean, that's just how racing drivers are. You're going to fight tooth and nail to get every position, to get that ideal line. And ultimately, I think we're going to see a really strong battle here between Matthew Robinson and Alan Kundman once we go back green.
This race restarts in the, as of now, unbranded restart zone on the leader. Alan will have control. It's not even Echo Park. It's the orange restart zone. That's very ominous. Green flies. Alan's off, and that outside line is looking kind of slow already there. And there's a big spin in the back. That's the 4 already getting hit. Isaac Voss gets hooked And that's another caution straight away.
Oh, yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. We'll get a replay here to see what kind of happens to the number 4 here. That is Isaac Voss. Let's see what happens here. Does he just get tagged? Yeah, he just gets tagged by the Sonic-themed Toyota Corolla just directly behind him.
I actually have the suspicion that he spun himself on the restart. It's easy to put down as a little bit too much gas. That camera angle isn't going to help me. I can kind of see what happened.
I mean,
I can kind of see what happened.
You can kind of see it. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see it either way happening, because like you catch a glimpse of what might be contact, and then you have another glimpse of it's possible that he just spun out on his own. So, yeah, I mean,
shouldn't be too damaged. I think some of that though was just a little bit too much power on the restart. These cars have a lot of torque and a lot of horsepower. Some wish they would have more on the track. But if you stick it out too hard in second gear in a stock car, that thing will go around and backwards, even on a rolling start. And he's got a run to the back to contend with. Steve McLendon towed to the... I was claimed he towed to the pits. I think I'm getting all sorts of jitters all over here thanks to some thanks to netcode problems around. Mark Herzog does get the end-of-line penalty in the in-and-out car. Probably there for the late pit stop, actually, under the caution.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate, but once again, I mean, it's gonna allow these tires and the fuel to go longer than initially planned, so it's gonna definitely delay the pit stop until we hit that stage caution that we see here at Triple Bypass Racing. So, I mean, it's a pretty advantageous position once again, because Alan Kundman is still gonna get that inside line. So he's really going to have a good shot here to kind of keep that lead, but he's got to be patient. And if the incident with the number 4 earlier, if he did lose it under his own power, these cars have so much torque, like you mentioned earlier, that if you put too much throttle down, you're just going to spin. And if you're Alan Kundman and you have about 30 other cars directly behind you, you definitely do not want to spin on the restart here. So you got to be really gentle on the throttle, but not too gentle where you get jumped by Matthew Robinson. So it's a really interesting place to be if you're the number 3 of Alan Kundman.
Restart after restart can put a bit of pressure on you, know. If you know you're consistently fast, it's so annoying to get your race stop started. It's so annoying because the restart's the scariest thing to do. Those cold tires going to turn 1 are always the scariest thing to do. And it's like being forced to relive your most traumatic nightmare and repeat. We have to do a little bit more waiting and pacing, I think, because we're still not 1 to green, and I already played the recap from last week. So instead, I'm going to have to start the question whether you have something to do with this. Would you like to respond to the allegations?
I mean, considering that the only other time I was here at Triple Bypass Racing was for Nashville, and Nashville had, like, I think 17 or 18 cautions. I might just somehow bring a commentator's curse to the entirety of the field, which is less than ideal. I don't have anything to do with it purposely. Now, incidentally, it might be 2 separate things. But another thing I would like to add is with the constant restarts, you mentioned that it's like reliving a traumatic experience. I would just say it's just like driving on I-95 at any time of day, especially during the American 5 p.m. rush hour traffic. If you have ever went through I-95 and you've been through that I-95 purgatory, that's probably a very similar feeling to what these drivers are experiencing right now.
Eventually they get going. I mean, it's about as straight as a highway as well, or at least two of the long straights. I mean, Nashville just sort of goes in circles forever. And you could argue it's always going in circles, but really, I mean, we're talking straight off the straight off the straight. We're going to hopefully get some green flag racing soon. This league does run green very, very well. I'm not even going to slightly tell you otherwise. You caught an unlucky day. We've caught an unlucky race start. And together, we're going to hold hands and understand that these guys race really, really, really well once a couple of problems get out of the way. Let us say Adam Gunman will be lining up on the inside. Again, Matthew Robinson on the outside. Fairly slow start for Robinson last time. Obviously, you can't beat the lead driver to the line on a restart zone race. You're not allowed to pass them at any point, but felt like the whole lane was going to get held up, and I was wondering if driver like maybe Ema there in the 405 would have maybe thought, he's held me up. You can't change your lane until the start-finish line in this league, so you are sort of stuck there. No doing ridiculous free wides from officials, let me put it like that. That's no fun. And hopefully we're about to start having some fun. I expect we're going to start having some fun. Same drivers in the same place as ever, but they get to keep going until morale improves.
Yeah, I think it's just a few early little kinks we have to kind of get through. Just drivers kind of got to get their groove. You know, you got to stay in your groove on this track, or else it's really going to bite you. And I think once these drivers really find these grooves, I have not a singular doubt that these drivers are absolutely fantastic in green flag conditions. It's just been a interesting time when I have been here so far, but I still have all the faith in the world that these drivers here at Triple Bypass Racing are indeed fantastic NASCAR racing drivers. I know they're going to have some fun here, and we are about to get back in under green flag conditions. The pace car pulls away. Alan Kudman is going to go ahead and lead us to green. He's going to go ahead. He's got the inside line. He's got the optimal line. The green flag is waved. The pedal goes down. And we are back underway under green flag conditions. And speaking of jumping, it looks like Matthew Robinson lost a position there temporarily. Or maybe my eyes are just deceiving me a bit. I think he did lose a position there. But so far, it's been a very good restart there for Alan Kudman as we go ahead and navigate through this racetrack on lap 11 out of 85.
Lots of moving in the back few rows here, but that was a position pretty much taken away by Kress, and very, very well timed. The outside line slow again. This time Kress takes advantage, and now the gap half a second. Big wall shot there on the outside. It looks like Ileana Hamilton has caused a little bit of a check-up in the field. Sean Bradley just behind, but Daniel Williams had the check-up out of the way. Big gap ahead, but thankfully no big wreck for now. Still a little bit of blinking in the back. Look at that separation out all the way out for a second. I see William Ema trying to make a move down on the inside onto Robinson, but you have to communicate your intention early here at Indianapolis.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just going to cause calamity and yet another restart here. But this restart has been very, very clean. A few little wall taps here and there, and maybe a few instances of trading paint. But so far we have survived, and we are going back, and it looks like 4 wide potentially coming into the corner. These drivers are all kind of jockeying for position here, going for the inside line, and I mean, if you're calling the outside, then it's really just kind of bad luck for you. You're likely going to lose a spot. But so far, these drivers are really handling it now. This restart was very nice.
Oh, some absolute mob back there from 10th to 15th. This pack is now led by Brian Dickens. But also cut the car sort of from around Al Corey back. Decided they're going to go 3-4 wide down into the straights. Pretty impressive stuff for them to all keep that one together. But now the tyres have warmed up just a little bit, we're finally starting to see some grip out of these things. Bigger. Still some dives to the outside. Some drivers, I don't know whether they're struggling to stay to the bottom or they're just trying something different. Very unique track for drafting, of course, because you are going to get very big slipstream advantages off others, but it's not going to be a flat-out pedal to the metal. Matthew Robinson looks like he's been forced a little bit wide. William Emert trying now for the second lap to get below. Still not taking. I think Robinson's quite happy with his pace right now. Even though he's a lane off the bottom, he is enjoying staying ahead of Emert. He's just going to have to keep trying, burning up his stuff, getting under.
Yeah, because you really got to pick your moment when you want to try to go for an overtake here at Indiana. So, I mean, it's still pretty early on in the race. It is lap 14 out of 85. These drivers are really just trying to get into their groove, get into their flow state, and overall just really just trying to kind of settle in and wait for the opportunity. We've talked about it time and time again here that patience is a virtue around this track, as William Emmert is getting very close. And as we take a look back here, Ileana Hamilton. And I think there's quite a few cars going side by side here. And it's a bit of a spin there.
Into the side of McLendon. It's McLendon again that's around and back. This time, into the side of Jeremy Brown. I could sort of see something developing there, but I wasn't quite ready for how that one was going to end. Some of this is just, it's just a little bit unforced. It just feels just like it's a little bit unforced right now. These cars, drivers have control of them, but here's the 51 to the inside. It's a 64. He's running very slow. We saw him go wide and slow, but McLendon's not really clear to go down either.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to put blame to someone, but I think that was definitely Steve McLendon pretty much at fault there. It looks like he just kind of just jumps into the 46's lane there. The 46 had the inside. He was coming across and just got lightly tapped, turned around, and just kind of got boxed around there. So I think the fault there does go to the number 51, but yeah, that's not necessarily a great outcome for Steve McLendon or Jeremy Brown for that matter, because he is turning that NASCAR into a very expensive lawnmower.
I mean, just a couple turns beforehand, I noticed, though, Brown was dropping a little bit like a rock here. I think he tried to get out of line. That may have just caused a massive side draft. Here's a replay further back in time. We're going to just try and work out what happened. Brown, I think it was exiting this turn that things really started to slow up a little for him. This makes our third non-stage caution of the race. We did get some good racing underway, but we've had another incident on the track, of course. It's a little bit of a checkup. Ooh. No, actually, he ducks out of the way of the car in front there. That's Matthew Harmon. Matthew Harmon hits the wall, and Brown is slowed, trying to get out of the way of it. That's what we didn't catch the first time around.
Yeah, so just basically a domino effect there. Because, yeah, right there, we saw it earlier. He tried to get out of the way, and then just got turned into by the 51. So, yeah, not necessarily the greatest of restarts there for Jeremy Brown. I'm sure he would have loved to have a bit of a better go at it, but Allen is just really enjoying these consistent cautions because, I mean, yeah, he obviously wants to get underway with racing, but it's really helping him out. So he can definitely get to the end of the stage before making any kind of pit stop.
I am, personally convinced that this is a race leader's worst nightmare. But, because he's very, very good at getting away. He's very, very good at holding P1. Passes for the leader tricky here. And he just seems to keep getting slowed up in the way. But one thing that is helping out the whole field out, of course, is tyre wear and fuel conservation. Running this slow for this long is meaning those inside tyres, which we've been told by a reliable source before the race, it's going to be a really big factor if we end up on a long run. They're not getting burned up nearly at all. And also, if you're able to save fuel under the caution, you're going to have a quicker pit stop as well when we hit the stage caution on lap 30. Every car usually can make the first stage without any problem. 3 past this time around. I believe it was Herzog. He'll now be back on the lead lap.
Yeah, that's going to really play into the hands of these drivers because, like you said, it's going to be quicker pit stops across the board. The more fuel you can save before we hit that stage caution. And overall, I mean, racing in general, your number one enemy, aside from the other cars on the track, is time. So the less time you can spend in the pits, definitely the better. And there's our most positions gained. And Brian Dickens and Dominic Zanobi have gained 11 positions apiece, which is very impressive. Jaden Henry and Tex Nicholas have gained 10 positions apiece. So there's some pretty big movers in this field. I'm sure definitely taking advantage of some of the early onset chaos here around Indiana. But I think so far, when we've been under green, there's been some very solid racing with these drivers.
Long race, long run ahead. Some drivers have taken a pit stop a little bit early in order to get fresh tyres for the second half of this stage. It begins here with Ben Harkham. He has 1 lap old tyres. He stopped on the caution. So then Marty Rogers and Stephen McLendon, Daniel Williams, and Matthew Harmon's car should be repaired up as ever. He took a significant pit stop in order to get that car pieced back together. Slightly newer tyres on Donald Ristow, Elton Wu, and Dominic Zanobi. Everyone else has held out their tyres this whole length. They're hoping to hold them out for the entire length of the stage. This pace lap does feel like slow agony in these cars. Let me tell you that. It does feel like we're here for a very, very, very long time. Longer than normal. That base car is probably being begged to be sped up just a little bit around here. I mean, I tell you that. Sean Bradley, winner in Texas last week. He's done a little bit of climbing up the pack, sitting in P8 right now. I usually see him as a factor. And the last race I commentated around triple bypass around this track, it was some seasons ago. Sean Bradley was a very, very big factor. With how much these cars have changed, though, that might play into the people's hands very differently. Don't have one turn to go. Phil, for one turn, you can do this.
Yeah, I mean, it's I feel like the safety cars actually led the most laps here in this race compared to Alan Kudman, just because of the amount of safeties we've had. But I have a good feeling about this. Once we go green, it is going to be a...
I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if we get a good race or another caution race from this point onwards. But the field has managed to get their way out on the run. A little bit of movement in the back, but Kunman's got the good launch again, and this time Cress on the outside goes fast enough to keep that P2. Matthew Robinson still under pressure from Emo, who's not able to send it around the outside, and in fact Ty Bass, that's going to try making that inside send of his own. Oh, momentum is such a factor on this track, and it isn't quite playing out yet.
Yeah, as we're seeing quite a few cars jockeying for position, spreading that dirty air around, coming from the small diffuser on the back of these NASCARs here. Kudman once again taking a very fantastic lead here. I think still overall he does have the fastest lap of the race so far with a 52.877. So good pace here from Alan. And Alan, I think if I was Alan, I would just want to continue going straight on full speed for at least the rest of the race until
Sean
we hit
Bradley.
that stage.
Sean
That's
Bradley,
a big one in the
and
backfield.
there's another one out in the back, but I'll focus on Sean Bradley up first because something unusual, well, not something unusual, I can see how that happened. He's got a meatball flag for that. He's going to need to spend the fast repair on, but see what Alan Kunman was doing here, weaving on the straight in order to try and break the toe. This is quite traditional in IndyCar, where the draft's a bit less powerful here, but everyone tried it, and Sean Bradley trying to follow the Constantino, I think just has a bit of snap oversteer, and yeah, that car just sort of goes out from under him. See if we can go back a little bit, and yeah, he says he was trying to join the draft train, and he just gets a bit of snap oversteer on the wall. He's then not the only driver that has problems. Derek Cat in the back, I think, is one of those cars sent backwards and around. See if we can go back a little bit to work out what quite happened to him. Oh, it's the 32 of Marty Rogers. The 32 of Marty Rogers kicks that one off.
Ooh, that's rough.
It's a big dive to the bottom, man. Oh, he tries to dive to the bottom, and he snaps in very much the same way. These cars are snapping when you're doing some very, very dramatic movements to them, and I think drivers are going to need to start working this out between themselves. You are not going to be able to make dramatic moves and dramatic swings side by side in these things. They are losing traction every time you try, and that makes caution number 4.
Yeah, and I mean, I've noticed it too. It's just you pretty much have to be very smooth in these next-gen cars. I mean, balance equals traction, and when you upset that balance, you lose that traction, and then you get incidents like what we saw earlier with that number 77 car. It's unfortunate. I think so far that's how Alan Kudman has been doing super well, is that he has been smooth, and his car's just been pretty much on rails throughout the entirety of this race so far.
He's getting to lead the pack, and so he's getting to sort of like determine how everybody else reacts here, and with the restart zone rules in play, he's getting a good read on the field and is able to beat them out on those starts every time. A few take us to pit road, and not all of them took damage. We're keeping an eye on who takes some significant new tyres in there, because it seems like some of those drivers in the back are wanting to jump the field by taking those fresh tyres to finish off this first stage. I think this goes back. That is that Isaac Voss. Isaac Voss is out. Dylan Freeman is in. Steve McLendon is in, although he's been in a few times at this point. So it's Daniel Williams, Matthew Harmon, Jaden Henry, Nick Jones, Michael Seymour, and Sean Bradley, but he had the meatball flag to serve. You get one fast repair in this league, and then you're done. And he's got the back to start from, usually a very, very fast driver in this series. He's got a bit of a mountain to climb now.
Yeah, and if anybody can do it, I believe that he can do it, but he's got to pretty much keep that car going in the right direction. He's got to find his groove. He's got to be patient with this car, because so far we have seen that every single, you refer to it as a dramatic movement, every sudden twitch with these cars is very likely to send them out of control. As we take a look at the standings here, current championship leader Steve McClendon's not really having a fantastic race here, so he might lose a position here.
What's important is your eligibility for the playoffs, and you do get your qualification by winning a race, and then also having raced enough to make it in. The drivers highlighted there in that sort of like more yellowish, greenish hue. Al called it yellow. I think it's green. That's a tomato to you. Steve McLendon, Sean Bradley, and William Emert will have their lock-ins at this point, and there will be good series of other drivers that have made it in as well. They will race in a free-race shootout to the end with one intermediate, one short track, and one super speedway or road course race. The rules say that means we're going to be at Daytona, Phoenix, and Darlington to finish off this championship. And that's a tough set of free tracks for those drivers to make it through, of course. You also get a bonus point, of course, for having fastest laps and for having few incidents. And it's sort of getting down to the line at this point. 11 drivers will be playoff eligible. Those who don't win will be filled from the remaining drivers in the lineup, as long as you've been in 8 of them this season. So it's getting quite close outside of McLendon, Bradley, and Ema. And drivers like Jackson, Ty Bass, or Keaton Cruffers, they're pretty secure and locked in. Al Corey is looking for his place in, though, and he'll need to beat over drivers like Matthew Robinson to get that secured. That 22 out of 85 will be quite a short stage. We will throw another caution at 30. God forbid we do more caution laps right now at this sort of pace. God forbid, but there will be at some points given out to the stage winners, of course, and that will send the whole field to the pit lane. Top 10 all haven't stopped whatsoever. They're back to Al Corey.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting here to see if we can go ahead and get the green flag condition all the way till that stage caution. So we'll see how this one goes. I think we're going to get started here very, very soon. And we'll see if Alan Kudman is gonna be able to get that launch that he's been able to get so far in every single restart we've had here tonight.
One restart after another. He's had a pretty good launch out of the gate, but it doesn't matter whether you're leading at lap 22. It matters whether you're leading at lap 30 and then preferably 85. So Alan Kudman has to get every single restart right, and he approaches the suspiciously unmarked restart zone any moment now. They're calling it Geico restart zone, which it is on quite a few of the NASCAR tracks. I propose to you that maybe we get to make it our own. It's a PTR TV restart zone now on this track. Let me tell you that as we get ready to go green on our leader. Kudman's off, Cress alongside, and Kudman's able to jump right up into that outside line. Press cuts across. It's between Emert and Robinson for that P3. Robinson's typically always held it. Emert's always been trying the inside, though. And this time he tries the outside. Doesn't quite work. We're almost 3 wide further back down the field. I saw a little bit entering that turn. Obviously, drivers a little bit further back, looking to try and make up their places. We're doing the serpentine up front again. And I don't like what happened last time we did that.
Yeah, so far, I'm not going to say anything definite because last time I did it ended up in another caution, but so far we had a little bit of that serpentine effect, and we've actually survived here so far on the restart here. Alan Kudman still leading, going ahead and trying to he's trying to break that toe using the IndyCar tactic, which isn't super common in NASCAR, but it is effective because these cars do have a very effective diffuser just right at the bottom rear of the car, generating a good amount of downforce, but also spits out quite a bit of dirty air, which can really disrupt the airflow over these next-gen cars, and it can really cause some pretty scary moments that results in a few code browns. So far, we've seen quite a few of those moments on the night already, and as we are currently spectating the number 5 Sonic car of Elton Wu trying to get up to the rear of Dominic Zanobi, trying to maybe make a move, but it looks like Ben Harcum is going to try to send one through the inside, and Dominic Zanobi is currently still chilling in P15, but he's definitely going to want to get a bit further up before we hit that stage caution.
One of the things that's just very, very interesting about Indianapolis in this in these cars is you do just have to set up your passes. You sort of have to set them up well in advance. I could see why we do see the Serpentine. It is a bit unusual, but it's a sort of one of the only tracks where draft's a significant factor. And also, it's not a super speedway package race. It's sort of got that strange combo of factors. Emote's going to have another go for it. It's been trying all race to get to the inside of Robinson and past. This time, at a turn 3, it's good on pace, and I think the side draft will send Robinson back, and that's a pass that's been a long time coming for Emote. Finally signed, sealed, and delivered. Quite the run down the road, though, in order to move further up. He's over a second back already.
Yeah, so I mean, the top two have really pulled away with this one, with Alan Koeman and Brad Kress really pulling up a nice gap, and this is really going to help them out because, I mean, they really only have to worry about themselves here at the moment. We haven't been going long enough to start to see the occurrence of lapped cars and lapped traffic happening here as we jump down the field to John Crutchley now, and this mighty gaggle of cars here down the back stretch. They're going to try to make it through turn number 3. And so far, we have all made it through turn 3. Now we're going to go ahead and go to the run for turn number 4 here around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And I believe we are actually getting super close to that stage caution. About 4 more laps to go once we cross the line here. It'll be a lap 27 out of 85 here. And these cars have really settled in nicely here on the restart.
Just keeping an eye on our race sponsor, Dominic Zanobi, who we'll be speaking to on the stage caution. And catching up with in is Ben Harcum in the Dave's Hot Chicken car, setting up a right pass down the inside on Crutchley, who's just given it up and run very, very, very wide. Mostly just in order to get out of the way. Might not want to fight this fight leading up into the stage. Further down, there's quite the gap up ahead for Jeremy Brown, but he's back on Michael Hopkins. We sort of this train of 3, Dickens, Hopkins, and Brown. And I've seen some aggressive moves out of Brown. He always seems to be trying to run up to the inside of someone, and that's very, very scary going that close to the inside of IMS, but it might have worked out for him. Gives a lot of space to stay away from the side draft. I don't know if it's signed, sealed, and delivered quite yet, but he's going to keep trying to weaken down that Hopkins car. He's been making the most aggressive moves. Seen him a lot in the middle of the field today already, and he's looking to try and punch his way up even further. He's going to get past Hopkins and Dickens to make it further down the road.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much right now your main objective is really to try to survive there, as he's going to try to shake for the move here. Going to try to get the move. That move was easy enough. He didn't get the last time around. He gets the move now. Jeremy Brown up into P8 in a number 46 Chevrolet Camaro. And I think right now you're really just going to try to survive until that stage caution that's coming up in about 3 laps time. Brad Kress now, that gap has actually increased from Brad Kress to Matthew Robinson now. Just about 2 seconds in between these cars now, about 1.5 seconds right now. But so far it has been a very strong battle here between these drivers. And I think we're going to go ahead and survive until the lap 30, and this is when everything's really going to start kicking off here.
Just a few to go, and I think Brad Kress might just settle for this P2. Kunman makes a big dive at the bottom, and this time Kress doesn't join him. he might just be resigned to that position. A little bit of a tag on the wall, actually, as he exits free. And try to get down to the bottom on 4. It would be very, very bold to make a big move. Lap car in the way. He's got a 10th in it here. But Koeneman, he holds off Kress well. And that makes our top 10 in at the end of the stage.
We have reached the stage caution here. So the top 10 here. Alan Koeneman, Brad Kress, Matthew Robinson. There we go. It is Alan Koeneman, Brad Kress, William Emmert, Matthew Robinson, Keaton Cruthers, Ty E. Bass, Brian Dickens, Jeremy Brown, Michael Hopkins, and Al Corey rounding out our top 10 after 29 laps here at the Indiana Thunder 85.
And on the topic of the Indiana Thunder 85, I think it's just about, I would say just about right to check up on our race sponsor, but why do I see a car in the grass on the pacing? Why do I see a car in the grass on the pacing? How did he get there? I'm not sure. But that car, I thought maybe it got beaten up real bad. Didn't quite. We should be able to find Dominic Zanobi. I saw him not too long ago. He's running in the 30 car and he's P15 right now. Is he available in the Discord for us, though? Why they always have to do this to me, and they have to not speak, they have to not be available in the Discord for an interview. Dominic Zanobi is the sponsor for this week's race. Anyone that sponsors the race Triple Bypass gets to name it in their honor. And he's just gone for the Indiana Thunder 85. I think he's kept it very, very simple. I'm going to give it one more review, because if he's here and I miss it, I'm in really big trouble. But no, he's not in that list. We're not going to get to speak to Zanobi today, but we might get to just take a little peek on top of his pit stop, sitting in 10th right now. It's quite like a climb up the grid, but the whole pack is now in pit lane, and a lot of it's going to go into entrance and exit.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what these pit strategies are going to be like here, as we have reached the stage caution. So I don't believe there's any other stage cautions here, so we're pretty much, if everything goes according to plan, we should be green from now until the end of lap number 85. So, I mean, so far, this has really just been the Alan Koeneman show here. Just been able to get some really strong starts here. He gets good launches off the line, and he just does not give up that lead at any point. He always goes for the inside line, and he's just been able to really keep that car going in the right direction. He's been gentle, he's been patient with the car, and it's really paid off for him here tonight.
But interestingly, there's been a bit of a race strategy mix-up. A few drivers made a stop under the last caution, this top 5, and they've chosen to stay out and lead this field. 10 lap old on the tyres. Sean Bradley's back, and he's leading the field. Dylan Freeman, Nick Jones, Marty Rogers, Stephen McLendon, also our top 5. So they're going to need to stop just a little bit earlier. We've been told if you stay in 5th gear, you're going to get about 30 laps of fuel in this bad boy. If you shift to 4th, which for some of the drivers around here, you will have a shorter run. But I said it was inside tyres earlier. It's actually going to be the right sides that are going to be a very, very big problem. Bigger than usual. Lots of lateral loads going through these fairly unbanked turns. I do not know how this is going to end for this top 6. Brad Kress sort of is the first of the new stoppers. There has been a bit of moving in the pit lane, because Alan Koeneman lost 4 places on pit exit. Brad Kress leads over Emert and Robinson. They only start from P6.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about racing that is very predictable is that racing itself is unpredictable. I mean, the amount of cautions has certainly switched up the strategies here tonight. And it'll be interesting to see if, well, I mean, obviously it's going to be better for these drivers on the brand new tires from Brad Kress downwards, but I wonder if this top 6 that has stayed out on those 11 to 12 lap old racing tires, I wonder if they'll be able to keep the drivers on fresher tires behind, because those tires are going to be Arctic levels of cold, and so they're just not going to have the same amount of grip as these drivers on the older tires are. But if these newer drivers can get these tires up to the proper operating window, then this is going to be a really spicy restart here.
knowing just how linear NASCAR cars, they wear out their tires, this is going to feel amazing for this top 6 for about 6, 7, 8 laps, and then it's going to fall off a cliff once the drivers behind are locked and loaded and ready. And this is going to be a little bit tough, I think. It's nice to make the bold strategy call out in the field, but they've got to be able to convert that over the long run here. And we're hoping we stay for a long run on this track. This race has been beset by cautions throughout, but that last run proved we could race right around here if we just put our hearts and minds to it. And still some more aggressive moves than I usually expect to see around here, but this league, they usually don't fail to impress me at Indianapolis, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, so far the racing we have gotten around here, when we've been under the green flag conditions, when it has been full force racing, has been very good. We've seen some pretty good overtakes around this track, and drivers really just putting on fantastic levels of defense. But cautions have really played effect in this race, and I'll let you take the restart.
Sean Bradley in the Simpsons Plow King takes up the inside lane as we go green. And Dylan Freeman on the outside had a better launch than other drivers have had from this position. He's going to be behind entering turn 1, but I think he's got good momentum. Nick Jones able to jump to the inside. Marty Rogers in 4th. Steve McLendon lining up in 5th. And where did Kunman go? Sort of dropped like a rocky sitting down there in P9 after his pit stop. Still running 2 wide, plenty of scrambling. This might be the last chance some of these drivers get to have a true pack race on the field. So we're still side by side down the back stretch. I'm watching Marty Rogers here try and jump to the inside. A bit of a move again there from Jeremy Brown. We've seen him have a few little shakes today. He's able to rescue that car in time, keep it pointed in one direction.
Yeah, that's a very fantastic save there, because that could have went very, very sideways in both the metaphorical and the literal sense. I'm sure these drivers are going to be glad to get some full-on racing underway, and I think William Emmer might have had slight contact with the wall a bit. Yeah, actually, no, that's Brad Kress. He's dropping like a rock here.
I think Brad Kress just had a real slide out of the turn. I will be able to check up on the replay in a short while whether or not that was a slide or whether that was actual wall contact down the line, but he's lost out a lot of time in a lot of places. Dylan Freeman, he's had enough of being second fiddle here. He's going to be given a lot of space by Bradley, enough space to just concede this corner. Maybe Sean wants to be behind to save on some fuel, or maybe he just knows Freeman's going to fly away like an absolute rocket. Down he goes, Sean Bradley in second, and then the gap quite big behind to Nick Jones. The rest of this field, they're sort of losing pace now, side-drafting each other as McLendon jumps to the inside of Jones.
Yeah, McLendon has had a pretty unfortunate start to this race, but right now he's about to jump into a podium spot here if he can make this pass onto Nick Jones here. He's got the inside line. He's going to try to make that pass. Is it done and dusted?
Here comes Kunman on the bottom.
Actually, no, yes it is.
Here comes
Kunman on the bottom trying to make a move.
Matthew Robinson and Kunman, they're on the newer tyres, and they're moving like a rocket ship already. Bradley and Freeman trading their P1 and 2 up ahead, but I'm noticing that Kunman's got these new tyres alive, and he is chasing down another wall contact there. I believe that wasn't quite Marty Rogers. I think that was that triple one car. It's Nick Jones out against the wall. Wall taps are adding up here.
Yeah, I mean, they're damaging the bodywork and probably putting a little bit of extra unnecessary wear onto those tires there, as William Emmer is trying to fight with Matthew Robinson here for position. And these cars are all fighting tooth and nail, but Alan Kunman, he's got that same pace he had early on into P3, trying to chase down these leaders on the older tire. He's got the slipstream from Dylan Freeman in that number 31 Mustang. The number 3 Toyota is trying to make moves happen here. Brad Kress has seemingly recovered a little bit. He's going to get a move done and dusted. And man, it's tricky to kind of keep your eyes, or figure out where to keep your eyes on, because Alan Kunman has got his eyes on the prize, that's for certain. He moves up a spot. He is up into P2 in that number 3 car. And now he's going to try to close that gap to Sean Bradley. And then we have Jason Benson here trying to make positions himself.
Just saw a lot of moving around the back. I was curious whether that was all about to go wrong. Dylan Freeman dropping like a rock. Matthew Robinson is our other fast driver on the newer tires. In fact, most of the old tire drivers are off the face of the planet. Only 3 near the top. Sean Bradley in first, McLendon in third, and Freeman in fifth. Everyone else has pretty much disappeared, and I bet there that Kunman's going to take some time out of Bradley every single lap. Put back Keaton Cruffers in that nice gold 809, making moves on Freeman again. He's just dropping back. These tires are not doing it anymore.
Yeah, no, I mean, they were able to hold on quite decently at the restart once we got started after the stage. But the fresher tires of Alan Kunman and just his raw pace has really just started to knock every little tenth out of that gap he had. It was up to a second at one point, but now it is whittling down 10th after 10th after 10th. Alan Kunman is really closing in to try to retake the lead of this race. It didn't seem like he had a great restart, but as time went on, that number 3 Toyota has been on the pace, been on rails. He has been in his groove and at the peak level of flow state. And now he's about to be at the top of the grid. He's got the run down to the line. Is he going to be able to use that slipstream to slingshot past Sean Bradley in that number 77? Let's find out. Going closer and closer to 200 miles an hour going into turn 1. Doesn't quite have enough momentum there, but if he can keep this line and keep this slipstream, I think by the time they get around to turn number 3, I think Alan Kunman's got this move done and dusted.
The tyre differential might be a bit too much to face. Around the straight, it's going to be very similar speed, but in these terms, you could say that Alan has a car for combat. If I've made any of you cringe at home with that one, I'm sorry. I'm here all week, baby. Alan Kunman, lap after lap after lap. He's not hitting his best. His best was a 52.6. He's running 53.1s right now, but that is 4 tenths faster than Bradley's last. Hey, it's already 4 tenths faster than Bradley's best. Sean Bradley hasn't been running the fastest. He took the advantage of circumstances. He's going to need to defend like an absolute weapon right now. But now you're sort of within that bubble of the dirty air. It does get trickier to make that pass down, and in fact, I even see McLendon in the 19-lap-old tyres sort of making up ground again.
Yeah, he's trying his best. He's giving it the good old college try, as William Emmert is going to try to get past here, and it looks like he does. And oh, we see Dylan Freeman losing 2 positions there. The Mustang just not having the pace of the 2 cars that just shot on by, being Jeremy Brown and Dylan Freeman, William Emmert. Those 2 cars going ahead and just slingshotting past as we are getting closer and closer to, I think we're actually at right about the halfway stage. Not quite there. We're pretty close. Lap number 40 out of 85. And Alan Kunman is really just kind of tucked in behind Sean Bradley here, trying to get a move, trying to get stuff done here, but just hasn't quite had the good opportunity to make that pass happen, and that's really putting some extra stress on those brand new tires.
We're starting to see some slides and twitches out of the rear of Alan's car, and those aren't boding terribly well. Still, McLendon able to hold up quite well on the old ones, though. I think some drivers have been able to get more life out of them, and they're taking advantage of just how, if you want to defend around this track, you can just aero block and get in people's way and just inconvenience them throughout the entire race distance. He gave up positions earlier, Bradley, but it may have just been on purpose. You can deliberately sort of concede a place around here. But now flying down these straights, and you get the feeling that every time Kunman makes up a little bit of distance, he's aero blocked right back, and he's where he started.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give a lot of credit to Sean Bradley here. He's been putting on some fantastic defense here, keeping that gap to Allen behind. Now that gap is actually increasing a bit on this back straight here going into turn number 3. I mean, Allen, we know he's had some really good pace, but he's just not been able to get past the winner from the last race in Texas of Sean Bradley in that 77 Mustang. He's just not had a good opportunity here, and he's really getting backed up into Steve McClendon here, who will be definitely looking forward to taking that P2 right from Alan Kunman's hands.
With the field mostly settled down, you have to pick a good time to do a run through the whole field, and I think now I've found my target. Sean Bradley leads the race behind him, Alan and Kunman. Steve McClendon is in third, Matthew Robinson in fourth, with Brad Crest in fifth. Keaton Cruffus is sixth and sixth, ahead of William Emert. Jeremy Brown, Dylan Freeman, and Al Corey making out our top 10. Ben Harkham's running behind, Ileana Hamilton. He'll almost try and make that move up the inside. Brian Dickens also in the chase with Elton Wu. Dominic Zanobi runs in 15th, our race sponsor. Daniel Williams in 16th, out of Michael Hopkins. Donald Ristow, Matthew Harmon, Mark Herzog, John Crutchley, Jason Benson, Marty Rogers, Jaden Henry, Tex Nichols, still some distance off. Michael Seymour, though, he's holding off with ahead of Nick Jones, Isaac Voss, Tyler Relas, Ty E. Bass, and Derek Chad Bear entered the race, and connection issues have caused him to leave the session.
Yeah, that's always unfortunate, and probably the most heartbreaking way to have your race come to an end is by getting disconnected from the lobby, and yeah, it's always really heartbreaking. But going back to the action up front, Alan Kunman still trying to chase down Sean Bradley here, who has had, I mean, he's never really been able to close that gap back up. He can close it a little bit, but after a while, that gap just re-extends. As we see Ty Bass with a good amount of damage on the front right of that Camaro, making a pit stop to definitely repair the damage. I'm curious on what happened there to the number 2. Interesting stuff here as we take a look at Steve McClendon.
I love my hardware mute button. It's like my favorite hobby is hitting it by accident and then like saying a whole sentence and then just losing myself halfway through it. It's like fantastic. I was just saying that didn't look like there was a major wreck that kicked it off, but you won't be able to get to the end on that distance at all. I mean, we have now 41 to go, so there's something about that stop that made it unscheduled. I don't see a meatball. Usually the aero damage you just sort of deal with, but that's an early time to take the stop and jump out of pit lane. I have to find out what happened to him later. Now he's going to sit quite near the back, as now just sort of a lapped car in the middle of everybody's field. Derek Catt, the only driver further back, 5 laps back after significant issues earlier on today. This is where Indianapolis racing sometimes turns here. It does turn a little bit single file. Drivers are going to try and test each other's tyre wear to the end.
Yeah, it's pretty much just going to be a race of attrition here, as there's 40 laps left to go. Just a little over half race distance here, so Steve McClendon is going to try to stay close to this battle up ahead between Alan Kunman and Sean Bradley. Sean Bradley's actually pulled that gap out quite a bit. The Canadian driver in that number 77 Mustang doing a fantastic job here. His laps are about 12 laps older than Alan's, and he's still keeping him behind. Alan just not able to make use of that slipstream and just close that gap to the current race leader. Sean Bradley is trying to make it 2 race wins in a row here, and I mean that would certainly secure him for the playoffs more than likely. So I mean, if Sean continues to play this game of just keeping Alan just at arm's distance, then I think Sean has a pretty good chance of winning the whole thing.
Sean can be good on the long run tyres, but there is a changeover point where this is going to matter, and I feel like it has to be coming soon. I feel like now we're sort of reaching that like 10 to 20 old on the tyres phase. But if Sean Bradley is good on the tyres and he's able to stretch this out to 30 to go, then you can probably just like take the stop right around and hope he wins on strategy alone. We've got a lot of green flag running now, so a caution is less likely, but never quite possible. Elton Wu side by side with Dominic Zanobi, as I'm hearing more reports of a little bit of blinking down the field. But most of the battling here, it's now in some isolated pocket. Is Elton Wu not quite with the pace to push past Harkham for now. And there is a caution,
Yeah,
and that's
just
a big
has
wreck on the backstretch.
Ooh.
That's the 28 and the 25. Donald Ristow and Matthew Harmon again. He's been caught out in a good number of them, and that's a meatball for Harmon.
Yeah, I think that we just both kind of gave it the commentator's curse, because I mean the drivers have had quite a few laps, so some very good racing, and then just looks like a little bit of contact, and just plowed straight to the wall, and then just collecting a few other cars that couldn't really do much else. So yeah, once again another case of the oval racing domino effect.
I think it was a bit of oversteer on corner exit. Oh, it's a snap. It's another snap, Matthew Harmon. He's had trouble this race, and that might spell the last one he's already used as fast repair. He has repairs required now. And that's him sent down and back after a car that hasn't treated him very well at all. This is a bit of a strange time for the caution to fly. You get about 30 to 31 laps. We're going to be going to green. We're about 34. So it's possible now that this becomes a fuel-saving race. Can you save about 3 to 4 laps over the course of the rest of race distance?
Yeah, so, I mean, this is going to kind of help Allen, though, because now Allen is really going to have that gap closed up quite nicely here. We'll just have to see if he's going to be able to get the jump. He has been magic on these restarts here so far in this race. Allen has never really lost out on any of the restarts here tonight, so I think this actually might have just saved his race here. It might have made it a bit easier to jump into the win and prevent the back-to-back wins for Sean Bradley here.
So I got the call earlier and I missed the call because things happen on Discord. So we might just use this long and plodding caution once he hits his pit box to have a little chat with the league admin Al Corey in the absence of our sponsor. I'm going to let him hit his pit box before I pull him in. And then we still have a little bit of pacing to go. There's nothing quite like trying to get someone right as they miss their box. That's just the cruel way to do it. So one step at a time here. Slowly does it, Al. Let's see if you'll have to speak to me now. Hey, Al Corey, a little bit late on the draw, but a caution is a caution. Do you have a copy?
Gotcha, guys.
So this race started a little bit yellow, but it has settled out quite a bit. It's become a bit of a tyre game. Now, it's going to be, a very strange fuel window on the first restart.
Yep, fuel might come into play here. I have to look at let me just get out of pit road here and I'll have a look. Yeah, it looks like I've got about 30 laps in the tank, which will be short.
Yeah, so I know some drivers that are very, very, very good at fuel saving on the track, let me tell you that. How's this race panned out for you up to now?
For me, I'm running where I should be, hanging around 10th, which is fine. I'm totally cool with that. I keep hoping that we'll have a long enough run that tire savings might come into play, because I think I might end up with a little bit of a tire advantage, but we don't seem to be able to run long enough. We'll see. I did want to mention, though, that early on in this race we had 3 or 4 incidents where guys are reporting that as the car has unloaded in the corner, they're getting a snap right into the wall. I think you've probably seen a few of those, yeah?
Yeah, time after time, corner exits have been troublesome, and also some drivers have been making big moves down the straight. Some of the draft braking, and when people try and react to that, that's been another cause of problems.
Yeah, we think that if you unload the car by turning right, that causes the snap loose. So we'll see. It's happened again. I think Harmon just left the race. I think he was out of equipment, but he reported the same thing. So it feels to us like you've got to be very, very careful about unloading the car.
A very, very, very interesting run ahead. Best of luck as we approach the end of this race.
All right, thanks, guys.
That was our league admin and father of us all, Al Corey. to make a nice little in-race interview. Some interesting findings, but most importantly, this is going to be a very strange fuel run. You can save a couple laps of fuel if you do it very deliberately, and you lose a lot of pace for it. Otherwise, I don't know how drivers are going to make it to the end of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a bizarre situation because on one side of the coin, you're sacrificing fuel for the sake of speed, and the other side of the coin, you're pretty much sacrificing speed for fuel. So it's kind of a you're cooked if you do and cooked if you don't. You just got to figure out which poison you want to pick for the rest of this race, as there's 35 laps left to go here at the Indiana Thunder 85.
From my experience, it's always worth it if you can do it. If you can dodge a pit stop, you will save more than the minute. But if you can't and you fall short, you look like an idiot that was running slow for nothing. So it's going to be that battle, it's going to be that game. Are people going to give it a shot? Well, listen to some on board near the end of stint, if people are cutting out their engines and hitting the clutch. That's what's going on. Otherwise, drivers might try and split this into two. Tyler Rellas leads this pack on 20-lap-old tyres. Everyone else in the pack stopped except for Tyler. So this is going to be a pivotal restart. Some very, very old tyres. Tyler Rellas is trying to split this stage into two. And that's going to make an unusual race start. We're ready to go green as soon as this pace car pulls in. Leader has control as ever. And I'm curious about this inside lane. He's going to hold it quite late. And I think Steve McLendon on the outside is going to get a jump, and that entire inside is going to get gummed up. McLendon already ahead, able to dive into turn one, and I wonder if Robinson and even Moore and Bradley and the likes are going to jump around the outside. These old tyres, they are not working. That car's dropping like a rock.
Yeah, Tyler's just really falling through here. Really just dropping down every single position. He is lost.
Oh, I reckon the back.
Ooh, yeah.
Are we staying green for that? The 27 goes back and around, and I think
so.
I'm not sure what happened. Now that's Jaden Henry. But we're still wrecking, I hear. I see smoke out. We're still green, and then it comes out quite late. So lots to unpack there. Let's do this one step at a time, because I couldn't quite catch either in full view. Jaden Henry up first.
Yeah, let's see what happened here with the 847. Side by side here.
And it's the same snap.
It's
the same
snap.
Now,
I snaps it.
See a driving slowly call on Tex Nichols. I don't know if he was the first one involved, but you have to pick somewhere in the field. Our series sponsor for the Tex Nichols Pro Series. And no, it's not that. It's our race sponsor, Zanobi, into the wall in the Pepsi car. And that's going to be the start of that. Here's Dominic Zanobi. He's able to recover the car in time, so I heard a wrecking call. And he just collects someone else on the way. So it's not a fully fledged wreck, but that's going to be enough for league admins to decide to throw the caution on it.
Yeah.
The 78 as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to get a look at this, because it looks like he just outright sandwiched the car on the inside. Yeah, he did. So, I mean, I think the caution... it's fortunate as it is that we have another caution on track, but I think that was a good idea, because I think somebody was going to get taken out big time here. So I think just to keep some other hopes and dreams alive for some of these other drivers in the field, then I think the safety car was a good call. Now we're seeing some of those drivers on the older tire just fire off into the pits with 33 to go.
A few drivers that didn't here are also stopping behind. There may have been ones who got clipped and taken a bit of damage, but Tyler Rellas, he very much tried that pit strategy and it didn't work for him. Now the fuel makes sense for drivers. If they can make 30 laps now, it makes sense. So I'm curious what the game plan is for those to stay out. I think maybe the ones that stay out are thinking that they can save enough under this caution. Caution's a great way to save your fuel, turn off the engine and just sort of let it run. So everyone that stops right now, I guess it's as reckoned, they want the absolute safe fuel. They want to be on max. Those up front think they can save right now under the caution in order to help them out. Tyres are going to be pretty much equivalent across the board. Look at some of these stop times. Most of the drivers have already stopped for fuel at this point. They should be running out of tyres by now if they've been using them properly. That means Stephen McLendon's going to lead this field, and I want to hear on board here to just see if drivers are in fact trying to just cut out the engine and save some fuel. Let's look at those revs. Yeah, he is. 2,000 RPM is what the car does when you're holding the clutch, and the ignition there goes off. That's the least fuel you could possibly use in iRacing, and he's back. So those that stayed out think they can save fuel like this. And if they succeed, they've just pulled out a strategy blinder.
Yeah, and I will die on the hill by saying that racing drivers are probably some of the most strategic athletes in any kind of sport. And the fuel saving strategy here from these drivers here in this race just kind of exemplifies that statement. Like, I mean, if you think about other sports, there's a bunch of interesting and weird techniques, but I have never seen in my time of commentating any series of the old turn it off and turn it back on again being a good strategy for fuel management.
I'm gonna be real with you. That means you haven't done enough iRacing ovals, which I know you haven't done many of. But I've had races where I've done the turn it off and turn it back on again. I've known drivers that have won my league races by doing it under green to save fuel through corners. It's very different to very different sports car racing where you can sometimes lift and coast aggressively. You're going just a bit too fast for that to really do much for you. So the next option under caution, obviously it makes sense to turn the engine off and not even think much of it. But they are assuming their numbers are right. They've got their fuel numbers on board. Everyone that stopped behind hasn't. So it looks as if the fuel savers are down to Tex Nichols in P17 here. The others decided to stop to top up that tank for good. I presume everyone's going to be good for fuel now, knowing what you save on the caution, but it might be tight, some of these drivers in the middle.
Yeah, that actually just now makes me think about if I could actually do that in my actual road car, just going down the highway, just turn off for a bit, save some fuel, and just turn it back on and just get back going. Pretty sure that would not work out super well, but it's going to work out for these drivers here on this field. And I think this is going to be a very spicy restart here, as we should be resuming here in the near future. Seeing a few cars kind of blink in and out of our plane of existence here in the background. So hopefully that doesn't stay that way. Hopefully it's just a little blip, as I think we're about to get back on the way here very soon.
We see a few all the time. I mean, I know of a co-commentator that likes to say that cars are being abducted by a UFO when that happens. He's got a few good lines under his belt, but we're the ones in the booth today, so I'm not going to allude to any other figures in my life that I happen to be working with. We've got 31 laps of racing ahead. I think drivers have pretty much worked out the limits of these cars now. Let's see if they can keep them in one piece for the remainder of this race. Away we go, waiting for the restart zone. The suspiciously orange restart zone, as I'm calling it now. We are green. Steve McLendon, a good launch off the bat. Sean Bradley's on the inside lane. He always comes back, and he's going to try and jump down underneath. Matthew Robinson doesn't quite get it on exit. He's held off from that free of Alan Kunman behind. Another driver that's been very inevitable today and could be in position for a good win now that the playing fields are even.
Yeah, we'll see how this one kind of pans out for these drivers. Trying to break the toe like we saw earlier on. The serpentine effect, as we nicknamed it early on, as Matthew Robinson and Sean Bradley are trying to fight tooth and nail, trying to get these positions. But Alan Kunman, who has been rapid on these restarts, really wants to jump, and now his arch nemesis from early on in this race, the one driver he has not been able to slingshot around, Sean Bradley just kind of blocks him out of the podium position here. But Steve McLendon did get a very good restart here as we are down to 29 laps left to go in this race here at Indianapolis.
Should be 25 minutes of straight racing if we stay green all the way at the end. A little bit too wide further back. William Emo used to be running up near the front, not quite anymore, but he's still making his chasing and moving. He's still here to prove he is fast. Tries to set the inside line here against Mark Herzog on the outside. And that side draft's going to work to his benefit, I think. Climbs up to 11. It's Elton Wu now down the road to chase. Further back, side by side, Brian Dickens and John Crutchley. Dickens will take that P14. I have to shove over the cars in this camera angle. They are absolutely aggressive. I got to pick my angles carefully if I want to even be seen or heard. Oh, it's a single file for now. It's going to become a tyre game.
Yeah, especially with all these drivers stopping for fuel early on, and that's going to be an ambitious move up the inside. And I don't think he just had enough real estate to really kind of close that door and try to jump up past Keaton Cruthers here. Jeremy Brown trying to get moves done here. Let's see, as we see a few cars trying to jockey for position here. Al Corey, who is back in the top 10, trying to chase down Elton Wu here. And as we drop back a bit further in the field, Brian Dickens trying to make a move around the outside. Doesn't quite get it. But, oh, it's a Toyota going a bit wide there. Trying to get into a little bit of that clean air. As we are down to 27 laps to go. Race sponsor Dominic Zanobi is the Toyota in question with that Pepsi livery Toyota Corolla. Trying to navigate through the very tricky track here at Indianapolis.
Do you think it's a Corolla? Just out of curiosity. I mean, this is an easy mistake to make, but I just want to double check.
It's a Camry.
Okay.
It is a Camry, I believe.
It's a Camry. I just wondered if that could just be a thing you do, or it could have actually been me needing to work out if we can work out what the cars are. I've never seen a Camry in real life. I'm British. We don't really do that here, you know?
Oh, they're all over the place here in America.
Because you guys just basically do, like, armored tanks as cars, so it sort of makes sense.
I mean, these new Camrys do kind of look like the new gen Prius. So I mean, hey, if we see a Prius in NASCAR, that'd be pretty funny. Although the first time I was here, I did accidentally call one of the Camaros a Corvette. So I have been known to make a few mistakes in car identification time to time.
That'll do it. Thankfully, there's only the 3, and you get used to them after a while. So you're doing great. Dominic Zanobi making some nice moves to keep moving up the field. Now PB15. Quite consistent pace. A couple mistakes have cost him just a little down the road, but he's open to maybe squeeze into the top 10 at the pace he's running. What about Corey? Very protective of that top 10 himself. He's 7 tenths behind the next car. He's having to chase off Mark Herzog before we can even think about chasing William Emert down the road. I think anyone that goes side by side in these cars, they're side drafting each other back so badly that you lose a lot of long-run pace on that straight. Very close running there by Herzog. That's a driver that can trust the guy he's running with. I've almost wrecked Al by accident a few times on the track. I've always just quite ended up out of him, but I've given him a very, very good spook every time. And he's too nice of a guy to hurt on the track. He really is too nice of a guy to hurt on the track. And he's very, very busy running this league every day of the week. Jeremy Brown marks the back of this top 6 pack, and these drivers are the ones that are pretty close. Brad Kress looking to try and join the party, but behind Kress, it starts to become a little bit quieter.
Yeah, because I mean, at that point, the gap really starts to kind of show itself here as Eliana Hamilton is going to try to go ahead and try to close that gap up to Brad Kress in the number 9 car. It looks like the number 73 is doing a pretty decent job of just trying to at least make sure the gap doesn't extend and get larger. And I believe Eliana is actually closing that gap in the number 73 car. Slowly but surely, but as we seen earlier, just because you can close that gap
we see a yellow.
does not mean you can make the pass.
I see a yellow. I think it's Not Brian Dickens. I'm not trying to work out where the car is. It's not a big wreck. It is Brian Dickens, actually. It is Brian Dickens. Let's try and keep an eye on what happened to him.
Yeah, let's just see what happens here.
He's done some good chasing, but it's a self-slide to the left this time. These cars have been doing their snaps on the right, and that's unfortunate for that to run into the wall quite like that.
Yeah, I'm not an expert mechanic, but I'm pretty sure your tire is not supposed to be at that angle. Seems kind of counterintuitive around any kind of track, let alone an oval, but yeah, here's just another view of it from Brian Dickens' perspective. Does he get a little bit in the grass? Maybe no. He just kind of loses it on his own there. And yep, just not much he can do. And straight into the wall and straight to the pits.
He has a fast repair that will help him get back out on the track, but the act of the toe might take him a lap down. We're now on 23 to go. We keep circling around the ring. And there's been a lot of cautions, an over-under call before the race of 5. We have plenty more than 5 that have run. I've lost count at this point. And away we go to do it again. Just check it out on the YouTube chat. Of course, Isaac Voss's sim crashed, which caused him to leave. To answer what happened on the restart, I spun, money shifted from second to first. Haven't driven a sequential in a while. And for Derby, yes, oval races and iRacing, they do use full course safety cars whenever there is a wreck on the track. There's a lot of tyre and fuel strategy that goes into these races. There's a few more dive into the pits to possibly put on their last set of tyres.
Yeah, I mean, I know the whole stigma around oval racing is, oh boy, another left turn, but there's a lot of strategy that really goes into these kind of races. I mean, it's got the same level of strategy that you see in other racing series, whether it's Formula 1, IndyCar, Endurance, you name it. The strategies are still pretty similar. You have to obviously worry about tire wear. The tire wear on an oval is different than you see at a typical road course. If you think of like the Circuit of the Americas or Barcelona, those tracks in particular have some pretty high tire degradation. But when it comes to ovals, it's a very unique tire wear pattern that happens here. So it's interesting to see, and especially because you have so many cars racing so close together. I mean, it's caution prone just in its nature. So, I mean, trying to come up with a decent strategy on the fly when a caution happens, like we've seen quite a few here tonight, that takes some dedication and it takes some knowledge about how these cars cooperate.
And, well, they've had more problems than not cooperating, I think, throughout the race. That was a little bit of a leftward slide. We've seen the rightmost slides on these tricky setups and this tricky tyre model all day. I'm afraid you jump back in the booth for another caution fest. So, I am commentator's cursed. So, for the record, like, I am officially commentator's cursed. But I'm trying to work out whether you also have actually qualified. I mean, like, I wonder if your insurance covers that, actually. Does it cover commentators' curses?
Let me get back with let me talk to my agent. I'll get back with you on that one. I mean, when it comes to other series, like when I do multi-class racing, I'm usually pretty good about not throwing out commentators' curses, but I guess I just save them for every time I go to an oval.
I mean, these are the leagues with cautions, and that means you say the word and one happens. I've done it before. My first ever race commentating triple bypass, I commentators cursed a caution right out of thin air, as Brad was telling me that they didn't exist. So,
well, the first time I was here at triple bypass was Nashville, where any word would trigger a full course caution, just because that was when they first brought out this new tire model, and also it's just Nashville. From what I've heard from everybody I've talked to, that Nashville is a very tough track to drive on.
I don't like Nashville. I feel very strongly about Nashville. What I'll say right now about Nashville is that I tried a full-time run of the Triple Bypass Xfinity Series one season some time ago, and I quit at Nashville. because Nashville annoyed me. It just bothers me, but I'm not here. Unfortunately, I'm not here to rant about it for hours. I could, but that's not really part of the remit. I just want to get out there on the air, so it's confirmed and for good. Brad, I will not join you for Nashville if they ever come back. I'll do any other track on the entire schedule, okay? Any other track other than that one. Indy has been a bit of a slow burner, though. It really has in its own way. I think the setup as well has been making drivers struggle. They do use a fixed custom setup, so they have a setup shop provide the custom set for each race. Everybody's on the same set, but it's not the iRacing default, and it does seem like it's been a little bit on edge for the last few weeks, and it's been a little bit viable to snap on them. The rightward snap's been a classic. Steve McLendon ready to lead the field. Who knows whether it's the last time, quite frankly. I'm done playing predictions. All I know is that we've got a race to get underway again. Matthew Robinson on the inside. And drivers from Alan Kunman down in P18 have used their final set of tyres. And we'll see them charging through the field. But we are green, and black flag for Matthew Robinson for passing the leader. Sometimes those do get cleared on race starts, but iRacing is very, very strict about passing the leader calls, and he might have to just eat the end of that race off the back of that. Restart zones enabled, of course, and a little bit of a slide from Keaton Cruffus. It's a good save. It's not a good save, and it tags the 73. That's the next caution, and a big one. Wipes out the field.
Oh. Yikes! Yeah, that was a domino effect if I've ever seen one there. I mean, just a catalyst, and then just a massive chain of events just unfolding before our very eyes here, as we pretty much are down to 20 laps left to go. He kind of lost it on his own there, made a good recovery, but did collect a car in the process, and that car got spun around like a Beyblade, and just more contact throughout the field. Cars are facing in every which direction, like you can combine them together and they would be in the same shape of a compass. As we enter caution number, I have lost track here at Indiana.
Meatball flag for Ben Harkham. He's out of fast repairs. His day is done. Alan Kunman has the meatball flag. He will be able to get that one repaired, but that tyre should be like that. And 1-4 for Jason Benson, who's also used his. So he's done here today. That black flag for Matthew Robinson, we've gotten confirmation. It's a jumping the start. It will not be cleared.
Oh, that's heartbreaking, because Matthew Robinson had some very solid pace here throughout today, but it just takes one penalty or one slight mistake to pretty much bring your whole race crashing down. And I mean, it's going to be a bit of a sigh of relief for Steve McClendon and Sean Bradley there in the back, right up at the front, but it's just not great if you are the unfortunate recipient of that penalty.
Alan Kunman will be able to repair that car, and will be able to get it back into pit lane to get it repaired. He does have the fast repair available, but this is going to send him to the back of the line in a race where I think he's been one of the most dominant racers on the track. He's going to slide into pit lane with a very wobbly right front wheel. There is a closed lane as well, so there might be some black flags given out to the field. I don't know, iRacing likes to change its rules every 30 seconds on that. A few more stopping as well, maybe some that have taken minor damage. I see Jaden Henry's car looks good, but Michael Seymour's between did not. No, some are taking tyres. That's Seymour new tyres, so some do still have them in the tank. Here's Ileana Hamilton's car, which probably will take some slight repairs just for aero purposes. I think it'll stop and hold for Matthew Robinson. No, he's got to serve the under green.
Oh, that is not exactly the way you kind of want to go out in this kind of race. I mean, you pretty much survived now. We have 18 laps left to go, 15 minutes on the clock. And I mean, this is just really gonna be a spicy end to this race, because so far, a lot of these drivers, we know they're fast. We know that these drivers are extremely rapid, and they've been excellent on the restarts, but it's a race of attrition at this point. I mean, you got to really prioritize. Obviously, you want to prioritize that win, but you really got to fight for survival here just to get through the remaining time left in this race.
16 minutes of green flag running eventually await us, but it's been caution lap after caution lap after caution lap. Do you want me to do the maths? I can do the maths. I can find out how many we've had this race. I have the technology. I just need to tick a lot of boxes. So, crash, tire change, driver flag. It will be it'll be race control. No, it doesn't show at all. I'll work this one out. It's start lights, isn't it? Yes. Change to, not those. And what state? It's state and flag. There we go. That gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cautions today. You have done it. Congratulations. We're in for another caution fest.
I mean... fingers crossed that it ends at 9 and we don't go into double digits with the cautions.
Go check with the insurance provider. Go check with them.
Yeah.
See whether that's covered.
Yeah, I feel like my insurance is absolutely going to hate me after this one. I'm going to bankrupt my insurance company just because of the amount of commentators' curses that have led to several hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of damage against these NASCAR machines.
How many have booked out the virtual grandstands in order to catch the latest demo derby? When I race triple bypass, they go extraordinarily good. And let me tell you, my record is I think we had 18 cautions once at Kern County Raceway, a track that Al pledged to never ever return to because that is not the sort of track for an Xfinity car. But let me tell you, that was one of the most fun racing evenings of my life because you just never knew when the next one was going to come flying for you. Got coaching for that week and everything. Sean Bradley's back on the front row, and William Emert's been sitting in the back in the past, now up to the front again. A few familiar drivers have hit the top of this pack. A few others have some climbing up to do. The agonizingly slow iRacing sedan ready to go again. I've heard the same call on the in-game mic over and over again about the restart. I have a feeling like the race control is getting as exasperated as I am, but we're going to have to hold it together just a little bit longer. Steve McLendon controls the field next to Sean Bradley on the restart. Oh, it's still so slow inching up to the box. If you watch him inch up to the line, I swear it takes longer. We are green. And McLendon gets the launch. Press behind, joins in tow. Bradley with a pretty poor reaction on the outside line and cuts it across the nose of Ema. I wondered if there was going to be contact there. Elton Wu's done quite well out of these cautions as well. I'm hearing an oh my god on the chat, and I hope that that's something else. I don't hear the yellow. I see all the cars in one piece. I'll take that for now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that would have been definitely a code brown there with how close that chop was across the front of William Emmer there from Bradley. But we are still green flag. 16 laps left to go in this race here at Indiana. And Brad Kress does have a very good run onto Steve McLendon here. There's a few cars going into the pits, and there's a big crash into the pits.
No way, that's Tyler Rellas. I think we stay green for that one, but that one involved the pull over. Matthew Robinson had to enter pit road, and that has caused one thing after another. The yellow just got thrown, so we can take a look at what happened on that one. Tyler, was this an independent problem alongside? Yeah, it was. He just tags the gold car and that is
that is the second most bizarre crash I have ever seen in my time of commentating, but definitely my most bizarre crash I've seen on iRacing, that's for certain.
I mean, that would hurt someone. That would hurt someone in real life. Let me just say, that would like really, really hurt someone.
Yeah. It hurt to watch.
Oh!
And this is just virtual.
That hurts me to look at. That hurts me deeply. Contact with Keaton Cruffers there causes that one. And let's hope we don't hit a double-digit number beginning with 2.
That was, yeah, that Mustang definitely became a Beyblade there. Let it rip into the pit lane. The car became a helicopter. And I'm seeing in YouTube chat, it must have been around 15 twirls. That is, yeah, I mean, in real life, that would have been absolutely terrifying to witness. Just because, the amount of injuries that would have likely caused. Luckily, we are in the virtual realm, so we could get a bit of a good laugh, but that is an extremely bizarre incident.
Also, some penalties were given out to Ty Bass and Donald Ristow. I'm just checking. I think they just entered a pit lane. Like, yeah, Tyler Rella's toes to pit, and I think, yeah, Tyler Rella, so he gets a penalty for entering the pit lane incorrectly too fast. I think that got cleared because that's cruel. Because then he also has a meatball flag and a toe to do after the car literally gets torn to pieces. And we go around and around again. Now let me show you one man that's been having a great day today. Barney the Flagman has been very well employed today. Maybe his arms are starting to hurt though. Maybe he'd really enjoy a bit of a break as well. I'm this close to putting the Texas recap back on again. I mean, there's going to be league announcements today, and they're gonna hurt. This is usually a track that's raced very, very well, so it's just been a very hard day.
Yeah, you're gonna say that again. Yeah, it's really just been a race of, I wouldn't even say attrition at this point. It is just purely survival and just raw tenacity getting these drivers to the end of this race. And if you win this race here tonight, then massive kudos to you, because you have survived everything that might have been thrown at you throughout the duration of this race. But I know you said you're done with predictions here, Howie, but do you have a prediction on who's gonna take that checkered flag first in this race?
I'll need to predict how many cars are going to cross the finish line. Good news, everybody, by the way. We have heard from Tyler Wellers in the chat. He is okay after that incident. So, he got out the car, the crowd waved. We don't need the ambulance on site. It's a miracle that we don't need the ambulance on site, but it's one of those miracles we can be very happy about experiencing, even if he's not very happy about the way his race finished. You never want to see a fatality out there on the track, let me tell you that.
Yeah, and also, I think I saw in
11 to go, yeah.
I think I saw in chat that he said something about a VR problem. So did he witness that crash in VR? Because, man, I got motion sickness just thinking about that.
I've had some horrible crashes in VR. They can like really, eventually your body gets used to it. If it's tough enough. Your body has to be tough enough to withstand. Let me tell you that. Checked out the infield I don't care anymore center. I'm loving the YouTube chat in here today. Regular service should be back next week. We have Brad and Corey Silver out in their own jobs this weekend, and I hope I've done a good enough job of filling the gap. It has been a bit of a dream to get to lead a triple bypass race. I've commentated on a fair few. Never really gotten quite to lead the charge. I'm sure I've got on a roller coaster to deal with, one that is going to be causing headaches for league management the world over, but that part isn't my problem. My problem is to look at it and to evaluate it critically. Steve McLendon, again, going to be on the inside line. Brad Prescott, a good restart from third to pass Sean Bradley. Now, Sean will be starting on that inside line this time. We might get a repeat in the reverse direction.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this restart goes. I mean, you only got 12 laps left to go. It'll be 11 by the time we cross the line. So it is, I mean, these drivers are really, I'm sure they're just tired above all else. Like, I mean, I'm sure they're just exhausted. They've been racing for about an hour and a half now, probably getting closer to 2 hours at this point. But, I mean, they're going to hope that once we see that green flag, it's going to be green flag all the way to the end.
And we approach the restart zone for the 11th time at this race. Well, yeah, this is the 11th time we approach if we started on a restart as well. Yes, it makes sense to me in my head, and that's all that matters. Steve McLendon leading the inside row. We've seen bad launches from the outside all race. Will we see a repeat of these fortunes? We go green with a quite early launch there from McLendon. And Bradley is fast alongside. Not a bad launch from Cress, but I think Bradley's going to have the ace into turn one. Cress has the pace, though, to challenge out of 1 into 2. Bit of a bump in the wall from Ema. Good save, and I think Herzog's going to try going for it.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much a golden opportunity for him to try to get this move done and dusted here at the restart. And Sean Bradley, he had a good launch, but I think he's going to lose that position to Brad Kress, who's going to try to get the move done around the outside, which he does make that move. Had a pretty good run down that back straight going into turn number 3, and a bit of a contact there, and that's the race sponsor getting turned around a bit, but somehow
another one
he keeps
up
it
the
facing in the
road.
right direction.
That's Ema around Robinson. Black flag. That was something else entirely. That's the same black flag. That's Ema around, and I think this was the one that triggered the caution.
Oh boy.
Caution.
Let's get a replay of that, see what happened here.
Give it up for caution number 11.
Oh boy. Yep, there's the catalyst that kind of started there. The Pepsi machine.
Oh, he just turns it round.
The race sponsor and just, yep.
That 46
The
car
back
just
end.
gets turned around by Ema, though, I think. They're trying to go side by side into the turn, and only one will really survive. Also, I'm going to do a thing that I have been waiting to do for a very long time. But yeah, that's the real cause of caution down there, and that's Ema just washing wide into another car. Now, let me find our 30 here, Dominic Zanobi. Now, I don't really know why I'm doing this to him. It's more like that I finally get to control the cameras, and someone in another timeline got to do this to me when I sponsored a race for Triple Bypass some time ago. So I would just like to get this screenshot locked and loaded. Wait for it. Wait for it. There we go. Okay, so we're done with that joke. It's over. We can return to live pictures. I'm really sorry, Dominic. It's been a roller coaster, everyone. His car's in one piece. It's not meatball flagged. So you should be able to rejoin the back of this field. We don't always have easy days out here on the track. I would know from being a race sponsor. Everything seems to go against you when you get to name a race. Let me tell you that. And that's going to leave this top 3 another chance to tangle at it.
I mean, I'm all for us having... We do a little bit of trolling here in the commentary booth, and I think that's a perfect example right there. That is a screenshot worth 1,000 laughs, because that was beautiful. I mean, I need to see a screenshot of one that happened to you now, just because it happened to Dominic there. But yeah, we're down to less than 10 laps left to go in this race, so hopefully we'll be able to have green flag conditions from now until the end of this race. This has just been a race of just pure tenacity and just durability here. Although the durability of these NASCARs has definitely been tested.
Well, I was sponsoring a race at Texas Motor Speedway when I self-wreck right into the wall, and someone else, not even from this channel, gets a beautiful shot of that with the tag today's race sponsor Howie Burrows in frame, and really whoever was like due to receive that is being treated quite cruelly by me, because what did Dominic have to do with it? Nothing. Dominic had nothing to do with it. But I just had to sort of get it out of my system one day, have my own moment in the sun. Thankfully his car is in one piece, and he wasn't even the cause of that caution. But caution 11, McLendon leads on the... How many times can I repeat it, really? How many times can I say again and again that Steve McLendon leads the race from the inside lane into the orange restart zone? I'm running out of punchlines, man.
Yeah, I think you're stuck on repeat. I have to reset my Spotify app if that's the case.
I think, remember when you said earlier that the pace car may have led the most laps of the race? I think now we're talking like
I think that's true.
We're now talking like could be true stuff, yeah? So we have our leader here, but then we have our real champion, our pace car driver.
Shout out to the pace car driver. He is a real goat,
I mean,
as the kids say nowadays.
That is a very, as the kids say nowadays. Am I allowed to ask how old you are?
I probably actually do fall into that demographic I was just poking fun at. I am 22.
Well, that's very, very Poggers Skibbity, Ohio swag, let me tell you that. I'm too old to be saying those words. I'm too old to be saying those words. I'm killing my co-host.
I feel like
I'm never ending about back.
Because Corey did that exact same thing when we were doing Nashville together. So you guys must share a brain cell.
No, did he? Did he do it to you?
Yes. I think almost verbatim the exact same thing about the race being some Skibbity Ohio Riz or whatever.
I didn't watch Nashville, so that's entirely coincidental. That's entirely
telepathy.
Indeed. Tyler Rose gets to lead a lap before getting sent to the infield care center, so he's happy with that. He says, "Here we go. 7 laps to go. Can we do it?" Steve McLendon leads. If you want me to bet on a winner, I'm going to be controversial. I'm going to tell you, I think Sean Bradley's going to pull out something crazy out of his back pocket. But I often predict Sean Bradley to do crazy things out of his back pocket, and it doesn't always come true. Will the outside line get a good run out of our restart zone? There's only one way to find out, and that is waiting for him to crawl over the line. And it's a very, very early start for McLendon. Away he goes. Bradley's alongside. And that outside line bogged down again. Bradley takes the inside.
Yeah, he's got a good run up there to the inside, getting very close to the number 9 of Brad Kress here. And if these two keep fighting too long, then Steve McLendon does have a very good chance to pull off into the metaphorical sunset here. But Sean Bradley does tuck in behind Brad Kress here as we make our way to turn number 3 with 7 laps left to go. He's going to tuck in for now. No sense in making a super risky move now and risk throwing away a potential back-to-back victory here for Sean Bradley. And I also want to say, I do think that Sean Bradley does have some really good potential.
No!
This
Matthew
is...
Robinson! You were onto something, and it had to get robbed from you. Number 12.
We are in shambles right now. Is it again? Just losing it on his own again.
It's a self-snap.
Yeah.
No.
Once again, losing it on his own.
Everyone on the voice chat, you don't get to hear the voice chat, but I hear the voice chat in my ear. Just, somebody's ready to try something important to say. And let me tell you, they sound so tired. They...
Can't blame them.
They absolutely need out of here today for maybe their own mental health.
I mean, I can't really blame them either. Because, I mean, this has been a long race. They've been going for about 2 hours now at this race. And, I mean, yeah, after 2 hours of racing, you just get tired. You're just ready. I mean, depending on where you are in the world, I know a majority of these drivers are on the North American continent, but even then, it is getting close to 11 p.m. here, at least on the Eastern Standard Time in the United States. So, I mean, it's getting late for these drivers, and some of these drivers have work in the morning, I am certain. So, I mean, at that point, you're just ready for a glass of water in bed.
You know that most of the highlights videos most of like the recap videos which are bypass, they don't edit our broadcast into them. But they did for Nashville because it really stood out. And I realize now we're now due for a repeat. You know? Like, you're now getting immortalized a second time. I have had an experience. I mean, but I'm not even telling you the time here, but I'm British. Go look it up. I agreed to start late. I'll just say that. I agreed to start late. And we are finishing later. This has all the race length of like a full-length Xfinity series or something. But instead, we're just waiting. I am now going to go and check the green-white checkered attempt. And if it's free, the level of screaming is probably going to wake up my roommate. If he's not been kept up by this already. It's 2. I will accept 2. Even if we're going to be here a very long time for it. I'll accept it.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, I know exactly what you're going through when it comes to agreeing to do late night races. But sometimes those are the most enjoyable races to do. And a lot of my favorite experiences have been from late night races. But I mean, back to the driver, I mean, I would not be surprised if some of these drivers are purely still in this race and purely still awake because they have slammed several cans of Red Bull during the caution periods of this race.
I'm on monsters aplenty, let me tell you that. Monsters aplenty. Here's Ty Bass. I think something else might have kicked off post-caution. I'm not sure. There's the caution. Ty Bass taking the pit road. I'm trying to work it out. We have time. Was it Matthew Robinson? Oh my god, there was a spin. There was a spin post caution. You can see the green smoke in the air. We had a big thing here.
Just when you thought there couldn't be more carnage in Indiana. I mean, this virtual crowd's definitely getting their money's worth.
It's Ema. No, you could never. William Emo's been from top to bottom to he's seen it all. You know, he's seen it all. He's seen everything. We're doing our absolute best to stay sane. I hope the rest of you at home are having fun. Those of you in the YouTube chat, you're having more fun than those on the track. Let me put it like that. I'm happy I took tomorrow off work. Let me put it like that for you. Stephen McGlendon, Brad Kress, Sean Bradley, Elton Wu. Shout out to Elton. He absolutely has been very anonymous, but he stayed out of trouble, and that's got him into a great position to finish this race. Who would you put your bet on? I've done mine. I still calling it the same way as before.
I think it's going to be Stephen McClendon holding on to this lead for the final few laps of this race to take victory here at Indianapolis. But like we've said a dozen times before, anything and literally anything can happen in this race. I mean, we've seen a car become a helicopter. We've seen crashes under caution. We've seen basically everything under the sun here tonight.
One more run, perhaps. 4. It'll be free to go on green, but with the chance of 2 race extensions. It's like the racing gods don't know whether they want us or want us not to race. Let's hope we make it to the end this time on start number 13. We're green. Stephen McClendon jumping up to the top, a good launch. Sean Bradley just behind, holds off 2 on the middle and on the outside. Mark Herzog pushes Cress up against the wall, and I heard that in your voice. That was a please don't do it sort of noise. But we are okay. Another wall tap there from Elton Wu. Everybody trying to keep their car to themselves for just 3 more laps.
Yeah, I made that noise because I thought that was going to be a massive domino effect of an incident like we've seen so many times here tonight. But thankfully for the sanity, most importantly, the drivers, we did not get that kind of incident here, and we are still good to go. It is the penultimate lap here of the Indiana Thunder 85 here at the Indianapolis International Motor Speedway, and it looks like Brad Cress does have the inside line. He's going to try to fire it up the inside. He gets the move done and dusted, trying to stay within the slipstream of Stephen McClendon here, trying to go ahead and rip away that win that Stephen has been fighting tooth and nail for the duration of this race.
We're going on 2 to go. We're all keeping our cars together. Brad Cress made a great run, and I think he might be using it to chase down the lead. Sean Bradley, I think, might have just a dent on the front to kill his aero enough, because Mark Herzog wants to make the move as well. But Brad Cress has pace like a rocket ship, and we're going to approach the white flag now. Once we see it, the next flag ends the race, and we are finally freed from purgatory. Brad Cress trying to move left, trying to move right. Doesn't quite get his way through. Gonna stick behind. I think if he wants to make his move anywhere, it's gonna be the back stretch. Sean Bradley, he's slow, but he's holding off around 3 cars, just a couple rows back. There, Tang and Elton Wu sitting up in P4 will take a great position away home today if he can make it happen. Brad Cress needs all the aero and all the slipstream he can get. I don't think he's making up enough ground, though. He's not going to force his way down to the bottom. And if Stephen McClendon can keep this car under him just 2 more turns, we will have our checkered flag. To the bottom comes Stephen McClendon. It's been an endurance race of the ages. But as we approach the line, it's a very, very clear win for Steve McClendon here in Indiana.
Whew. What a race that was from start to finish. You can never really predict what's going on, but Stephen McClendon is definitely a very happy camper at the end of this one. The number 51 taking P1 at the checker flag, and after 85 laps we have a winner, and his name is Stephen McClendon.
Oh, I feel like I've aged like 50 times in one go. You know, everything in life ages you, but you've now been double-aged by 2 very long caution heavy races. When it got underway, it was a thriller. It would just sometimes take a while. Stephen McClendon with a win in the books, and I'm going to assume they're having fun back there.
Yeah, I just took a sip of my drink, and I looked back at the screen and just mayhem unfolding. Thankfully, that it's already checkered flag, so we are not going to see another yellow. But man, like you said, once we got going under green flag conditions, there's some very good racing in this field tonight.
Once you do, we're going to be able to speak. We're going to have a chance to speak to all our top 3 drivers after a long, grueling day. But for now, let's get our race results up. Steve McClendon wins over Brad Cress on the line. P3 taken up by Sean Bradley. Elton Wu sits in 4th next ahead of Keaton Cruffers, Mark Herzog, Ileana Hamilton, Dylan Freeman, John Crutchley, and Donald Ristow. Over behind, Jeremy Brown sits in 11th, Daniel Williams in 12th, Matthew Robinson in 13th, ahead of William Emert, Michael Hopkins, Al Corey, Dominic Zanobi, Jaden Henry, Tex Nichols, and Ty Bass. Michael Seymour finishes 21st, ahead of Marty Rogers and Nick Jones. Everyone else finished laps down. Derek Catt, Alan Kundman, after his domination, retires from the race. Tyler Relez, Ben Harcum, Jason Benson, Brian Dickens, and Isaac Voss with Matthew Harmon, Chad Bear, Aidan Amaral, and John Darnell III all not making the end of the race. Got a few drivers to speak to. Hopefully enough of them are in the care center for us. If Sean Bradley's around, I think we'll start with him and we'll work our way up to the winner. Sean Bradley, I think I'm going to ask the same question pretty much to everybody today. How was that endurance run for you?
Yeah, it was okay. I used up too much right front, and Brad didn't. He was so quick and saved that right front. The dirty air was insane. I can't believe how much that affected everything. Also, there was something going on where it was snapping right on the stretches, so that didn't help either. But otherwise, I mean, the car handled pretty good. It was a pretty good race, I think.
You were able to stay awake through many of the cautions, but you were often in places where it very much mattered. And at one stage in the middle of the race, you were able to be very, very competitive on quite used tyres. Was there a big strategy game plan before it all sort of got turned upside down?
No, I was just going to follow the leader. And then, that snap right thing happened to me and I wrecked, and that put me on a different strategy. And then when I got in the lead, I think it was Alex Gunman was behind me. He couldn't do anything because of the dirty air. It was so prevalent that I was managed to stay in front of him with older tires.
Well, we've got to get through 3 people pretty quickly today, I think. So I'll leave you with any thank yous or shout outs before we talk to our P2.
All right, cheers. Thanks, guys.
That was Sean Bradley, who finished in P3. Patrick, I'll leave you with, is Brad Kress available? Not sure he is. Do we have our winner, Stephen McLendon? Yes, we do. You will have a chance to talk to Stephen McLendon.
All right, Steve, I mean, that was a race of attrition. How did you find it out there, and how did you find your NASCAR to handle the road track of Indiana?
It was good. Qualified good, and then had that little whip thing that a lot of the guys had on the backstretch. Something with the setup, and kind of got us on a different strategy then. And so took tires there before the stage break, and then after that, we just saved fuel, stayed out at the stage, and then got that caution at the right time, got new tires, and then starting up front, that was key the rest of the race, and getting jumps, and that was pretty much it.
Indeed, yeah. So I got 2 more questions for you real quick. So Bristol Motor Speedway is up next week. How do you find it, or how do you think you're going to do around that track?
I hope we do pretty good. Last time we ran there, I think we had a top 5 run, so it's a place I like. I won't necessarily say I'm fast, but I like it there, and so to answer the question, probably do pretty good, I hope.
All right, last question before we let you go. Anyone you want to shout out or thank tonight?
Yeah, just Tex for sponsoring the series, and I think it was Dom that sponsored the race. Thanks to both of those guys. The admins, I know we give them a hard time every week, and it's a lot for them to put up with. So I really appreciate what they do and the time and the effort they put into it. All my family watching. We got some stuff going on right now, but I appreciate them all watching and cheering us on. And then my buddy Nathan with Catamount Solutions, his name's on the car. He keeps the internet going and the beer's flowing.
All right, well, see you next week, and congrats on the win.
Yeah, appreciate it. Y'all have a good night. Thank you.
Dominic Zenobia, our race sponsor, was sitting out of channels for the length of the race, but I've been able to catch up with him right now in the post-race. Dominic, what a race to sponsor, would you say?
Hello?
Hello, Dominic Zenobia. What a race to put your name on.
Yeah. It was a good one.
How did it run for you? You were very much in and around the middle of the pack, caught up in all sorts of moments, but I don't think anyone kept it truly to themselves.
No, I mean, I it's my fault that I ended up in the back. I I was doing good, and I got myself up to 8th at one point, and I just overdrove the car and got her loose and then threw it into the wall, and that was the end of my race. Basically, I just if I would have kept it together, I would have been up there.
I think a lot of people were playing the game of getting it loose up and around there on a very, very challenging set. Now, it is customary to ask whether, what the meaning behind the race name is. I think this one might be fairly straightforward, given that we are in Indiana. But anything you'd like to add to that thought?
No, you're exactly right. It's I based it off the Brickyard 400 or the that were at this race, and that was my thought behind it. It's just it's a historical race, so I wanted to honor it in that way.
Well,
or historical track, I would say.
Any other thank yous or shout outs to share with the audience?
I thank everybody, all the admin team. Thank you guys. You guys have been great. I appreciate the stream. So I wasn't in the Discord today. I've been running off a hotspot, so I was hoping and praying that I would be able to even compete today. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank the team, Triple Bypass, everybody. You guys are great.
The league always appreciates your support. Thank you very much for sponsoring the race. Dominic Zanobi finished around, I believe it was P17, but very dramatic up and down race for everybody in the field. Well, that is going to, dare I say, quite close to finally mark the possible end of today's race. You've seen two very, very long ones, let me tell you that. Any reflections after today's?
I'm just gonna know I'm gonna somehow accidentally call the Mustang like a Ford Raptor or something next time I'm back here with my current trend of accidentally misidentifying cars on the spot. But yeah, overall, my main takeaway is that, I mean, when we've had actual green flag conditions, and these drivers, they race hard, they play hard, and you see some very fantastic action on track here.
When we did have racing, there was good racing, a lot of strategy to play at, and we're at Bristol Motor Speedway next week, so if you like a little bit of calamity and a little bit of hard racing, it's going to be a very, very dramatic race out there on the track. Let's thank the audience at home for putting up with me, at the very least. I've been Howie Burrows alongside Patrick Coleman for this week's round of the Triple Bypass Series on Prime Time Racing TV. Thank you